I hear what I say. We wish you a Merry Christmas to each one of you.
Boom! What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com, MTS Protein Shake. Marketing. Which is why I'm getting into this. I was asked a question on John Otis Hollywood's training camp thing. It's a little Facebook group we have, and get together, talk, send nudes, talk trash, you know, all the good stuff. And I was asked how I got started in bodybuilding, my first competitions, and yada, yada, yada. So, I'm going to rewind the and go back. When I was in high school, last game of the year, before I went to college or anything, I was going to play football in college. I injured my knee in a playoff game. Bow. That was just my meniscus. Fast forward, I ended up going to a Division III school, and I was intent on playing football. I was training, and snap, took out my meniscus, took out my ACL, took out my MCL. Done. So I hurried up, finished school and all that good stuff, and while I was doing that, I still needed a competitive edge. I was aching for competition. I am a competitive bastard, and I hate losing. I hate it. In business, in life, in sports, in everything. My brother's the same way. We absolutely do not do well with losing. And so I started powerlifting. And with my knee, the only restriction I really had on it is lateral movement. So powerlifting didn't really affect it. If you think about the meniscus, my ACL, we didn't actually replace the ACL. What we did is we just let it heal over with scar tissue. So my ACL is literally, it's going to go. It's just a matter of when, and then it's just going to require a full replacement. It is what it is. My MCL, same thing. That's all scar tissue. My meniscus, which is your cartilage between your bones, essentially, and joints, whatever. So what happened is my meniscus, the first time they tried to repair it, but it was too far gone. I went to a guy, Dr. Keith Fader in LA, and he did what a very aggressive doctor would do to a young guy, and even though my meniscus was ripped to shreds, he repaired it. And it was kind of like trying to stitch hamburger meat. It was that bad. But it took for a little bit. It just wasn't strong enough. And that's why it tore again. So in the second surgery, I ain't gonna lie, the surgeon I picked was the best one I've ever had. And I literally looked in the phone book, and I was at my mom's house. And again, don't take this the wrong way. Don't call me racist or anything. My mom told me to look for the first Jewish name I could find. So I picked a Jewish doctor. He did a phenomenal job. He removed my meniscus, explained to me what would happen to my ACL and MCL. And after that surgery, I was just told, you know, be easy, don't go too heavy on squats and deadlifts. I ended up powerlifting and doing really well at that. But he also advised me not to ski because my meniscus, lack of meniscus, and the thing is, cartilage is very, ligaments are very, they move. You know, they have some flexibility, and more scar tissue is like that. So the ability of my leg to just simply snap is much higher than it isn't. So, fast forward, I started powerlifting because of the lack of lateral movement. And it was really all I could fit in my schedule. By then I was working with Weeder and doing all that good stuff. And I did pretty well. And one day in powerlifting, I was at a meet. It was sponsored by, they're out of business now, it was the LA Lifting Club, a gentleman named Joe. It was a great little place. My parents lived in Burbank, California at the time. And what happened is, on the first lift, which we did squat, bench, then deadlift throughout the day, what happened is, blew my ass out. Yep, I blew my ass. I mean, it wasn't like that picture on the internet where the dude's ass fell out. Let's just say that I had to go to the emergency room that night. My wife drove me there. And at that time, we were engaged. Were we? We were engaged. Yes, we were engaged. So, that was when I knew she was in love with me. When I asked her to look at my ass, and she said, "Holy crap, there's a softball coming out of your ass." And that's when I realized she was the one. So I went to the hospital, got it operated on, and that's That's my ass. So, fast forward, I was working with Weeder Publications. And I was told by, he's actually with Muscle Mag now. He's actually in charge of all of their magazines, Jerry Candela. And he said, look, you're in good shape. You have a good look. If you lose some weight, we'll put you in the magazine. So I dropped down. I mean, I dieted stupid. I'm talking chicken and broccoli all day long. On the daily, as Louis Marco would say. And I lost weight. And I was shredded. I mean, I can post up right here. So, I did the men's fitness shoot at a year after I dieted down. So, I held 5% body fat for a year. It sucked. And I had a sex drive. I mean, it worked. But at 5%, I was too concerned about eating to really care about sex. It sucked. Don't stay that lean year-round. But I was in shape. And so... after that, after a few career moves, I kept in shape. I kept training. I did a couple little modeling gigs because I'm sexy like that. So I had the Jufro. And fast forward, Instone, Civation. After about a year into Civation, it was about a year, we needed something on the guerrilla marketing tip. I couldn't get anything going. I mean, Derek and I were churning out articles, and sales were not that high. And at that time, Extend was out. No one would try it. And we knew it was a great product. We knew it was what it's shown to be a multi-$100 million category in the making, an intra-workout category, but no one would listen to us. So I'm like, dude, I got to get our name out there. We got to do something. So I decided to compete. And yes, my decision to compete was 100% monetary. Why I started was to survive, was to help the company. And I was always, I mean, if you look back, if you could find it on Google and you look back to Derek and I, we're always the practice what you preach company. We didn't really, I mean, Derek competed at the time, then he took a hiatus, but I had no intention of competing. I was just going to be that CEO who did his thing, went and worked out, did and looked the part, and, had fun with it. And so what I did is I then entered a competition. Literally, I think it was 3 weeks after I moved to North Carolina. It was the moving process. I looked horrible. I looked terrible, but no one else showed up, and I won my class. Literally, no one showed up. And it was a national qualifier. So there I was, qualified for nationals. I had no business even being on a bodybuilding stage. But for me, I mean, considering who usually, I was probably in the top 20% of people who compete, because people really don't take competing seriously. And, I still, I actually dieted correctly. Chuck Rudolph helped me in. I just didn't give myself enough time, and the move just killed me. And I picked a show not far out enough. So at that point, I decided to take it a step further. I did another show a couple weeks later, got leaner, looked really good, but it was a tougher show, and I believe I beat a couple people, but I lost to a couple people. And that's when I looked at our numbers, and it spiked. And I do believe that me competing helped propel Civation to the next level, because it simply got the niche aware that we exist. I was still training and doing the diet thing every single day as just Marc Lobliner CEO, but I wasn't out there on stage actually putting it to the test. From that point, you know what, I got the taste of it, and I really never, and I still don't like, excuse me, the day of the competition. I don't like waiting. I don't like sitting backstage. I don't like sitting on a hard floor. The shows are never well put together. There's never anywhere to congregate. There's never anywhere to relax. And you're usually sitting on a concrete floor. Your shredded glutes are fucking killing you. And at that point, I just kept getting better and better and bigger and leaner. And that's where I'm at now. So the reason I started competing wasn't due to this compelling, even though I was a chubby kid, I was an athletic kid, but I wasn't by any means thin. Kids did make fun of me for being fat. I never had this urge to go pull a Mike Katz and pumping iron. Yeah, I'll show them. I never really had an urge to do that. I was confident enough in how I looked. I mean, my wife went from, if you see our picture when we first met right here, you'll notice that we both came a long way. And to what you see right here. So we both came a long way. And my wife was hot. I had a great career. I blew out of the gates from college, you know, working for nothing and moving up in a company to where I was making more than I ever thought I would make in my entire career. I worked my ass off to get there. And bodybuilding was just a simple way for me to put my practice what you preach ideology of a company. I always made fun from the day I started of fat guys in polo shirts running companies. And I still to this day do. And I still hate polo shirts, but I wear them once in a while. So, I mean, that's where I started. And it's not faulting anybody who gets in it for any other reason, but now I love it. I love the competition. I could do without the day of the show. I think shows are put together really, they're just put together poorly, which is why I keep an eye open in the next couple weeks. There'll be a huge announcement for a way maybe to make bodybuilding better for the competitors. I don't know. Maybe a new organization. I have no idea. But that's the thing, is that whatever your reason for getting into bodybuilding would be, just realize that it's a way to improve yourself. Bodybuilding never once got in the way of my job, never got in the way of my being a father, never got in the way of anything. And once you start letting it get in the way of your life is when you've lost. And you've lost what's beautiful about bodybuilding, the fact that it's an activity / sport that you can do alongside everything else. My brother, you know, he works a 70, 80-hour week. He has 2 kids. He's on the board of his son's Little League. He coaches Little League. He calls it his 5 a.m. hobby. What other sport or hobby can my brother, who's, I think next year he's definitely getting a pro card in the IFPA. What other sport or hobby can a businessman like that compete in and excel at? There's only one. That's bodybuilding. Maybe bowling. I don't know. But that's it. It's about you eating right and training for maybe an hour and a half a day. And then you get on stage to show the world what you've accomplished. And if you win or lose, as long as you improve over your last, you brought your best. You can't control judging. It's another reason I think there's a new organization in need. You can't control judging. Because judges, a lot of them, especially the ones out in, I don't know, who work with that rope man guy out in Georgia, a lot of these judges will do whatever the promoter tells them to, because what they are is national level NPC guys, and the promoter will tell them, you judge the way I tell you, or you'll never win a pro card. I know for a fact that happens. I know for a fact there's a lot of trainers on judging panels that are judging their own clients against other people's clients, competing trainers. It's bullshit. But you're not going up there for a trophy. And if you win it, and you win it fairly, by all means, you earned it. You're going up there to look at the picture and say, I kicked ass, and I improved, and I brought shredded glutes and everything that I can do with what God gave me. I took it to the next level. I'm proud of myself. And that's how my brother looked at things, you know? While he didn't win the overall, he won his class, and he improved. And he brought all he can bring. It's all we can do in all aspects of our life. Whether you're a father, a businessman, or a woman, or a competitor, all you can do is bring it. And you know what? Luck doesn't win championships. Champions win championships. You know what? There's no luck in bodybuilding. There's no luck. You bring it or you don't. Luck ain't going to make you get up at 5 a.m. to get to the gym before work. Luck ain't going to make you measure your food to the gram to make sure you hit your macros. No. That's pure will. And that's something that we have that no other athlete has. Well, a lot of them do. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of people who actually have real jobs, I'm talking not professional athletes. Look at the everyday American, everyday Australian. What they're doing, they're getting up, they're doing their thing, they're going to work, they're being very, very regimented in that perhaps. But take a whole new level of regimentation, if that's even a word, and you got yourself a bodybuilder. So that's it, guys. That's how I got started, and that's also me rambling about random shit. Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com. Peace out.
as I sit around by the fireplace, watching the gleam